What's up, Ravens fans? Welcome back. We're here on the Unscripted couch. It's Garrett, Cliff, and Ryan. This is a huge offseason for the Ravens, so we figured over the next 4 days, we dive into some of the most important questions facing this team as they head into the 2019 season. And first up, roster questions, guys. Stay or go for some key players. So let's start with what has been an anchor for this organization for the last 16 years, guys. Terrell Suggs, 36 years old. He's an unrestricted free agent across the board. Is it a stay or a go for Suggs? So we've got stay for Mink and Garrett. You got the go here, Cliff. Why?
Because I think they're going to need that money that they would use for Suggs to try and take care of some other needs that they have. Suggs, sentimental-wise, you would love to see him stay and get his wish. But I just think this is the time they're going to part with him and move in another direction.
Here's the thing is Terrell Suggs really wants to finish his career as a Raven just like Ray Lewis did. And I think that he realizes that going to another team, it's not a surefire bet that he's going to be able to be the same Terrell Suggs that he is here, the same fun-loving guy. I mean, you have to transition to new players, new coach, all that stuff. And if the Ravens part ways with Za'Darius Smith, they're going to part ways with both those guys. They need somebody to play outside linebacker opposite Matt Judon.
I'll be quick on this. I think that Terrell Suggs' value here in Baltimore is probably higher than it is elsewhere. I could see this being a situation where maybe he tests the open market, sees what's out there, and then says, you know what, do I really want to go play in another team for, I don't know, an extra $1 million than I could get in Baltimore? Probably not. I think that most likely scenario is that this extends into 2019.
Let's hope so. The personality alone would be a reason to keep him. Eric Weddle up next here. 1 year left on his deal, guys, with a cap hit of $8.2 million. If they cut him, they would save $7 million. So we've got, wow, goes across the board. Garrett, I'll give you first crack.
I think, look, Eric Weddle's been a really good player here for the past few years. I think what the Ravens are having to go through the process right now, make a decision is, even though the production dropped off in terms of interceptions, did not have an interception last year, is what he does from the standpoint of mentally organizing the back end of that defense, does that offset a decline a little bit in terms of production? And I think that's what the Ravens are trying to determine, and I think that ultimately they may want to turn the page to some younger players currently on the roster or maybe address the safety position in the draft. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to tie up in a veteran safety.
All right, well, let's stay in the secondary. Jimmy Smith also has 1 year left with a cap hit of $15.8 million. That's a lot of money. They would save about $9 million, Ryan, if they were to cut him. Let's see what you guys have. Stay or go for Jimmy Smith. Mink,
Wow.
You've got him packing his bags. They've restructured him a couple times.
I mean, he would be the most expensive. They're not going to keep him at that figure, right? He would be the most expensive player on the team and the second most expensive cornerback in the NFL. I don't think at his age, with his injury history, that he warrants that kind of money. Do you really want to give him an extension with that kind of injury history? And I think they have some depth at cornerback. If Brandon Carr returns, obviously Marlon Humphrey is an emerging star. You have your two starters. You have Maurice Candy. You have Anthony Averett. You have Tavon Young. You're probably going to add another young quarter via the draft. So they're in position, I think, where they can part ways with Jimmy.
Well, I think Jimmy has a lot of value. At that position, I don't think the Ravens ever want to get caught shorthanded again at the cornerback position. Now, no, he won't return under that contract, but Jimmy was playing his best football at the end of the season. And with the depth that they do have, even though if he doesn't play 16 games, if he's healthy for the playoffs, he's a difference maker. So I think they're going to figure out a way for him to stay.
It's been fascinating to see how the wave has really gone with C.J. Mosley. He's up next here. Unrestricted free agent. It felt like at one point on this show in the middle of the year, we're probably going to see C.J. Mosley move on because they weren't going to want to spend that much money. But it feels like that's shifted. You guys would know better. Stay or go for C.J. Mosley?
Wow.
Okay, so we got stay. You're saying go despite, again, what feels like even from Eric Acosta, a real belief that they're going to keep him.
I think it's interesting. I do think the Ravens want to keep him. I do think that CJ would like to stay, but I don't necessarily know that they're going to come to terms on what that money is. I mean, look, CJ Mosley is somebody that's probably going to want the biggest linebacker contract in the NFL. That's Luke Kuechly. Is he worth $12 to $13 million a year? His own defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, says he's the best inside linebacker in football. So I bet his agent's taking it up to Eric's office and saying, pay me like the best inside linebacker in football, $13 million a year. I just think that this thing has been going on for a while, and if he hits the open market, I think that he gets a richer contract elsewhere. As much as I would love to keep him, that payday is going to be significant.
Quickly, Ryan, do you think they make him the highest paid linebacker?
I think they certainly could. I think if you lose C.J. Mosley in this defense, that's a major anchor in the middle, especially if you're turning the page from Terrell Suggs or Eric Weddle. Losing C.J. on top of it, Eric DeCosta said one thing several times during his press conference: we want to keep our good young players. C.J. Mosley defines that.
Okay, well, kind of in that picture, and I feel like I know the answer here already because of being with you guys all season. Za'Darius Smith, unrestricted free agent. It's felt like a Pernell McPhee kind of.
Paul Kruger.
Yeah, Paul Kruger. Hey, Krugs, what's up? All right, across the board here, go. Yeah, no real surprise. Cliff, I mean, explain why a guy that had that great a season is not somebody you feel like this team will keep.
Because pass rushers are at such a premium. I mean, it's kind of like when I walk into the Tesla shop. I mean, I want one, but can't afford it. It's going to be the same.
Finance it, whatever. Everybody's in debt.
Right. Same with the Ravens. I just think the market is going to get out of control. They want Za'Darius back, but I just don't think they'll be able to afford it.
All right, let's move on here. Michael Crabtree, he has 2 years left on his deal, a 2019 cap hit of $9.3 million. Stay or go for Crabtree? Go, stay. So we saw the drops come up again. It was kind of an up and down season. Why is he back?
If you would ask me this question a month ago, I would have said go. But I think as I look at it now, are you going to be willing to part ways with the receiver? And then are you going to get a better one on the open market? And if you do get a better one.
The market is a little thin.
It's
thin on the free agent market.
And if you do get a better one, are you going to get him at a discount from under what you're paying Michael Crabtree? You're probably going to have to pay at least that much money. So you're not even getting that at a discount. And then you're going to really pigeonhole yourself in the draft if you were to let him go and you say maybe let John Brown go also. I just don't know if it's the best situation to say we're going into next year with Willie Snead, Chris Moore, and rookie as our receiving core.
Okay, well, let's stay in the receiving core. John Brown, nobody was affected more by Lamar Jackson taking over as quarterback than John Brown. He's an unrestricted free agent. Is he a part of this team in 2019? Stay or go? Go. All right, we don't even need to really dwell on this. Let's move on. The best for last here, Joe Flacco. Cut or traded? We're going to change the sort of the names here because of obviously his situation. There's a lot to sort through. I'll let you guys work on it. But is he cut or traded? Because obviously he's not going to be back. That seems clear. Okay, cut across the board. Why is it going to be difficult, Mink, for the Ravens and Eric DeCosta to trade Joe and try and get some asset back for him?
I think the NFL has changed in the way that it evaluates quarterbacks a little bit. Teams a few years ago were looking at getting that kind of veteran backup and saying, let's plug in that guy and we can win some games with a vet, because a lot of rookies weren't panning out. Now it's a copycat league. A lot of teams have seen rookies work out. They've seen the benefits of having a rookie on that rookie deal and what you can put around him. And so now a lot more teams are willing to take chances and get the guys in the draft. So a lot of teams already have gotten their guy in the draft in recent years. There's not that many teams that are looking for another guy, and they probably will look to the draft to get that person. So it really boils down to 3, maybe 4 teams that are in position to maybe take a veteran quarterback. The Jacksonville Jags, the Washington Redskins, the Denver Broncos among them, maybe the Dolphins. So your options are really limited. That probably shrinks to 1 or 2. And now you have Nick Foles in the equation. Yeah. Do they want Flacco or Nick Foles? There's a lot of things in play here.
It's important to know, too, he's owed $26 million next year. That becomes part of this.
It's a pretty big hit.
And Cliff, we touched on this at one point. That isn't as big a number anymore when you look at what true starting kind of top-level quarterbacks are making.
It's not. And, I think we touch on all these, the market being small. And Joe, the Ravens aren't worried about where he ends up, So they know nobody in the division is going to go after him. So I think that after trying to trade him, they're just going to end up cutting him, and he'll be able to pick where he wants to go.
Last word, Garrett.
I just think it's an indication of the marketplace. Certainly they're going to try to trade him, but there's not that much competition, I don't think. And I don't know that a team's going to be willing to take on that $26 million salary for next year when they maybe could get him a week later after he gets cut at a discounted rate.
All right, we've solved all the roster questions. Eric, you're welcome. Tomorrow, off-season priorities, Soapbox coming up.